the East bracket breakdown. You got the Pistons, Celtics, Knicks versus Hawks, Cavs versus Raptors. So look, the East bracket just locked in, and the two best first round series in the entire NBA are both on this side, right? So here's how it shakes out. You got the Pistons that are 16 and 22. The Celtics are 56 and 26. Awake play-in winners. The Knicks are 53 and 29. They draw the Hawks, which is 46 and 36 at 3 versus 6. And the Cavs are 52 and 30. Get the Raptors at 46-36 at 4 versus 5. Toronto clinched with a 136 to 101 blowout of Brooklyn the other day, while the Hawks dropped to 6 after losing to Miami 143 to 117, man. So, Matthew, which East first round matchup are you most excited to watch?
Okay, so first of all, if you're Detroit, you've got Cade Cunningham back.
Yes.
And he looked okay against the Pistons. You know, they played him limited minutes, 28 minutes, 14.7 assists, but it was good to integrate him back into the lineup before the playoffs start. And it was good to get your 60 wins. I don't know that the Pistons have done 60 wins in a long, long time, maybe since the days of Ben and Rashid. So if you're the Pistons, you like that. You like the 60 wins. You like getting Cade back. Now, which matchups am I looking at? It's tough to say because we don't know exactly what the matchups are going to be, because I think anybody can come out of those play-in games because, you know, the Hornets were the hottest team in the league. They ended up, if I'm not mistaken, the 9 seed. Okay, yeah, they're the 9 seed. The Heat are the 10 seed. Or Magic, who were one of the struggling teams but got it together slightly at the end, are the 8. The Sixers are the 7. But we don't know, depending on the play-in, how that's going to shake out. Because if it shakes out with Charlotte playing the Pistons in the first round, I think that's a tough out for the Pistons, especially if Cade's not at 100%. But if it turns out they're playing the Heat, then I think that's an easy out. If it turns out they're playing Magic, I think that's an easy out. If it turns out they're playing the Sixers, I think that's maybe a few rocky moments, but overall an easy out. But if you look at the matchup I'm really looking at, and I think I don't want to get too much into it because I think we're going to talk about it here in a second, the Knicks versus the Hawks. Because the Hawks weren't even supposed to be here. The Hawks were a losing team before they executed the Trae Young trade.
Got rid of Trae. Yep.
They got rid of Ice Trae, and somehow, some way, they became a better team. I mean, the Hawks probably won like 20 of their last 25 games.
Yeah.
So
they're doing good.
So they
went 16-3 since the All-Star break.
Yeah,
and Jalen Johnson just won Player of the Month.
So they might be 46-36, but that's a darn good 46-36. And they got a lot of different weapons. Jalen Johnson, just a walking triple-double. Alexander Walker shooting the lights out from 3. When you got a guy that's shooting 8 3-pointers a game and shooting 40% from 3, that's a certified weapon. Now, what's the holdup? Why aren't we going to say that they can beat the Knicks? Because the Knicks have been here before. The Knicks have taken their lumps now. The Knicks have been here the last couple years. They've integrated their roster. These Hawks haven't been there before. Jalen Johnson, what's his playoff experience? I don't know. I think it's minimal. Alexander Walker, what's his playoff experience? I think it's pretty minimal. McCollum's been there before, but he's been there to a certain level. He hasn't scaled the conference finals, but he's been there. So let's see how these guys look in the first round, because I think if the Hawks come out and steal game 1 in New York, they might be the favorites to win the series. So right now, I think that's my matchup to look out for with, and I know it's kind of cheating to use the 4 versus 5, but my dark horse would be the Cavaliers and the Raptors in the 4 versus 5, just because the Raptors have maybe struggled to end the season, but I think they have an interesting group of young guys mixed with like Brandon Ingram and of course Scotty Barnes. So I think they're talented enough to win games. I just don't think they're talented enough to put it together to win a whole first round series.
All right. Well, on top of that, Matthew, so Detroit and Boston, they look dominant on paper and should have handled whoever comes out of the play-in, right? But also, like you said, the Knicks and the Hawks and the Cavs and Raptors series, that's where the real action is. You know, pretty much like you said. And I told you, like Atlanta went 16-3, right? Jalen Johnson won Player of the Month, right? So they're not your typical like 6 seed, right? So also Toronto has Scotty Barnes playing the best ball of his career so far. The Cavs traded for Harden to win a series like this, but Toronto's length and the pace could give Cleveland real problems. So don't be surprised if both lower seeds push through to like 6 or 7 games.
I think you have to favor Cleveland in that series. Harden's been good in Cleveland. Mitchell's still been good. All the other role players have been stars in their role. Of course, Evan Mobley anchoring your defense. And still, you know what I love is like these big men that can shoot threes.
Yeah.
It makes it such a whole different ball game because not only does someone like Evan Mobley anchor your defense, but the fact that like if he's not in the post every time because you also have Jared Allen there who I think is is he didn't play the last couple games, but that could have been just him being cute. But when you have Jared Allen playing the traditional 5 and you could play Mobley at the 4, then he doesn't have as much space to cover to get back on defense and go like cover the paint. And so whenever you have a big man that's not playing down right by the basket on offense, that's more time for them to get back and cover their defensive position. And I feel like people underestimate how important it is to have a defensive anchor big man to win a championship. And the one I always think about is Anthony Davis winning that title with the Lakers. It's so important. And it's exactly why the Spurs are going to contend for years, whether Wemby develops as much as he should offensively or not. Having that presence in the post, just scaring folks out of there is essential because it's the old maxim, Sean. Defense wins championships.
Yeah.
And the Cavaliers,
you said championships.
Yeah, well, it wins games, it wins defense, but they have the defense, and now having Harden on offense, because we know Harden don't play defense, but Harden is such a talented playmaker on offense, and they have so many other guys to get the job done on defense that Cleveland is a very interesting team. And if you're Detroit with a Cade Cunningham that's not 100%, Cleveland, who you're going to have to see in the second round, assuming they get past Toronto, that is not a team that you want to see in the second round. So I'm looking forward to Cleveland versus Toronto because I love Toronto's young pieces. I love what they did for large portions of the year, even though they slowed down at the end. I love their talent. You know, I think Brandon Ingram is just a total baller, just a total bucket. Every time you see him, you're just like, the thing with Brandon Ingram is without getting into the intangibles, he's just one of those guys when you see playing ball, you're like, how is this guy not the MVP every year? Just based on based on buckets, not based on anything else. But just when you see him play, you're just like, this guy is a bucket. What's happening in the games I'm not watching to why?
And you know who he puts me in mind of, Matthew? He puts me in mind of Kevin Durant. The size, the length, the lankiness, can make shots. Now, he's not as pure or good as a shooter as Durant, but he's getting there, right? He's still kind of young.
He's a bucket for sure, and obviously he's never going to get to that Kevin Durant level potential. Yeah. But that's his comparison that I see in terms of his game and just being able to get a bucket from anyone on the floor. Now, like I say, I've never rooted for a team that had Brandon Ingram, so I haven't watched all his games, so I can't get behind the math and why he hasn't become the star that he looks like every time I watch him play. But he's a talented guy. Scotty Barnes is a talented guy. You got so many stars in their role in that team, so many young core pieces on that Raptors team. But Cleveland should be able to get through them, and then I think that'll be the most interesting matchup in the second round, assuming no upsets. Cleveland versus